Many years ago, Ozidi married Nneoma and they were living happily in Ozidi's father's house until the end of their first year of marriage, when his phone rang early in the morning. And it was his father's property lawyer calling. Ozidi, we have been very good friends. I wouldn't want to do what would offend you, so I have resigned my position as your father's property legal advisor. Ha, said Ozidi. Ekene, what is it? Why would you resign at this time? You are my idea. I wanted you there to ensure these lawyers don't rip my dad off. Why this at this time? How are we going to cope without you? And you know my dad is getting older. What is the problem this time, please? Ekene said, Ozidi, I am just tired of this whole setup. He is my boss and I respect him. But some of the things he does don't go down well with me. I came to work 2 days ago and he had a letter written by himself and he signed it. Then pushed the letter to me that I should stamp it and come and give you. Ozidi said, Ha, letter from my dad? What's the content of the letter, please? What is it that made you want to resign? Ekene said, he wants you out of his house in 30 days. Ozidi said, 30 days? How come? 30 days? My own father's house? He wants to throw me out. How? But I didn't do anything to him. I am newly married. We are not even up to 2 years old in marriage. And I don't have any special savings for this sudden move. My wife just got a new job and her pay isn't big. How are we going to cope? What is my father got to do with this property that he didn't even discuss it with me and all of a sudden he wants to throw me out? This is strange. I wonder who is advising him. Anyway, I'll wait for the letter. Thanks for the information, Ekene. Ozidi decided to call his mom. Mama, are you aware that Papa wants to throw me out of this house? Are you and Papa coming to live in this city? What is the problem? I am his first son. What does he think he's doing? Am I not supposed to have some inheritance from him? Am I not supposed to enjoy some comfort because I have a rich father like him? Uncle Buto is living in his house in Kanko City, free of charge. Even his sister, Auntie Ricky, is living in another of his house with her family, free of charge. What did I do to him that Papa wants to treat me like this? I don't understand. He treats me like I don't count. Mama, is this man not my real father? Mama said, Ozidi, you've been talking and I've quietly listened. I really don't understand this whole thing. If I tell you I understand it, know that I am telling lies. I don't understand it at all. I have asked him several times what he wants to do with the property he wants to push you out of. He said he wants to rent it out. I don't know who he wants to rent it out to. I even asked him to allow you pay rent. He bluntly refused. Ozidi, your daddy also said that I should stay out of this matter completely. I am talking with you now because he is not around. I have begged him all I could. I don't want to have issues with your father, please. Just start looking for another house immediately. Finally, Ozidi's father sent him the letter. Through his school network, he got a house 30 minutes from their former location and he moved out. His wife, Nneoma, was crying at the seeming cruelty of this her father-in-law. Nneoma was so angry that from that day on, she refused to talk to Ozidi's family. Ozidi kept assuring her, look, my baby, even if my dad acted in a way that didn't seem alright, a way that sounds harsh, I want us to look at the positive side of it. I am only 28. It is time to make my own money. Papa has made his. Nneoma said, but are you not the first son? Are you not supposed to inherit everything he owns? What is all this? Ozidi said, Nne, calm down. It may be tough for us now, but everything will be alright, okay? In a few days, Nneoma broke down and therefore didn't go to work. Ozidi went out to work. Nneoma has a very close friend, Chioma. She often visits. This particular day, Chioma came because Nneoma was a bit sick and needed a few things from the shops. Chioma picked them up and came over. Chioma runs her own business. They started discussing and Nneoma said, Chioma, I hate this family. I hate this family I came into. If not for your brother that went to school with Ozidi, how would we have gotten accommodation this fast? How could a father do this to his own first son who is very responsible? Because if he was irresponsible, you would have enough reason to punish him. But Ozidi is such a good boy. All of a sudden you throw him out just like that? No, it's unacceptable. I don't like this family. They have money but they are not generous. Ozidi and I are starting life. I had always thought that his father would at least give Ozidi and me some business or businesses to manage and earn good money instead of all these struggles up and down. We have paid rent for 2 years and most of the money was borrowed. How we are going to pay back is what I don't even know. I feel nauseated that a rich man cannot help his son. Chioma said, Nne, calm down. Everything will be alright. Everything will work out fine. Just be patient. Chioma, the thought of this whole thing infuriates me daily. The truth is that I want to leave this family. I want to just end it with Ozidi. Yes, we married early, as soon as we left school. My hope was that his father would give us the financial backing rich men give their sons, especially the first son. But here we are, nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing comes from that man. I left all the rich guys that were coming for me to marry the Ozidi because I sincerely thought his father would give us all the support. I am not seeing what I thought was there. It's not like the man doesn't have it, or it's just that he is very, very stingy. I am even happy I don't have a child yet, but even if I had, I would still live. Chioma said, Nne, you are shocking me. How could you say this kind of thing? You leave not because Ozidi treated you badly, but because his father didn't give you money the way you dreamed. So you don't think Ozidi would make his own money someday? Chioma, that someday is far. I don't want the suffering till then to come and be eating beans morning, afternoon, night. No, I beg. Chioma, the suffering I saw in my poor teacher father's house is more than enough for one person. I don't want to ever smell that suffering again. Chioma said, you seem to have made up your mind, right? Yes, I have. I even talked to my mom and she supports me, said Nneoma. So you have told Ozidi? Chioma asked. I have not, but I will. Everything I told him to do to force his father to give us what's rightly his, he refused. Chioma said, Nneoma, are you okay? Rightfully his? How? Because he's a son, then he has all the rights to the wealth of his father, the wealth that his father made. While the father is alive, he has all the right to grab the wealth. I beg, chill. Life is not like that. 2 weeks after, Ozidi went to work, and by the time he came back, Nneoma had disappeared, carried as much as she could. She sent him a message to say goodbye and dropped the keys with Chioma's younger sister since their house was close by. Ozidi came home to this disaster. How much could a man take, really? Nneoma blocked Ozidi, and so he could only reach Chioma, who was Nneoma's bosom friend. Nneoma carried even their bed, the freezer, the fridge, as much as the truck she hired could carry. She didn't even tell Chioma. Ozidi was heartbroken. Chioma too. Chioma was talking to herself. Why would a woman do this? Why this heartlessness because of some entitlement to some inheritance that is not your father's own? What is this materialism all about? Is she the only one that came from a poor family? I too. We were eating beans morning, afternoon, night. Because that was what was available. We went to school with holes in our shoes. I watched my mom cry because there was no money for food. No money for even Christmas chicken. We ate rice on one Christmas day without stew because there was no tomato. Mom used some vegetables she plucked at the back of the house to make some bone broth with which we ate our Christmas rice. The ceiling didn't fall through, and today we are not yet billionaires, but we are all standing strong financially. This is just too bad. I need to talk to Ozidi. Chioma went and picked Ozidi from his nearly empty house to hers. She fixed Nigerian jollof rice and chicken. He ate well before they started talking. Ozidi along the line started crying like a baby. Chioma said, Ozidi, she blocked you. She blocked my number too, because I told her not to tell the part she has told. Ozidi said, oh, so you knew about this? Chioma said, yes, I knew, but I wasn't going to be the one to tell you. I wanted her to tell you by herself. I didn't want to discuss it with you because I spoke at length with her, thinking and hoping she would change her mind. Obviously, she saw I was towing a different path and decided not to talk to me about it anymore. Ozidi, I want to tell you something. Put yourself together, please. This is the beginning of a new life for you. Perhaps, and it is most likely, you entered into a marriage relationship with someone who was more interested in your father's wealth than in you. So when she didn't see it flowing, and especially after your dad threw you out of his house, she lost hope. I did tell her that you are an able-bodied, wise young man, and that you would make so much wealth of your own that any inheritance from your dad would be like inheriting an old Mercedes when you have two Lamborghinis in your garage. Obviously, she would have been a drag on you. So instead of crying, I would like you to brace up and go out to succeed. Her eyes would turn green with envy by the time she hears the waves you are making in life and in business. Chioma became Ozidi's friend and support base. He shared his stories of his business breakthroughs with her, and in 9 months, something began to happen. Ozidi landed a contract that paid him about 2.5 million naira per month. Yes, per month. Ozidi shared the info with Chioma, who advised him to use some of the proceeds to buy land and start building his own house. Ozidi said, thank you, Chioma. I'll do what you said, only on one condition. Chioma said, what condition, please? Ozidi said, the condition is that you would accept to marry me and let's build the house together. Chioma said, oh, Ozidi, give me some time to think about it, please. Marriage is a very serious matter. I cannot just dabble into it just like that. All this while, I have been relating with you as a friend, indeed as a brother. Now I need to check my mind to see if this will work for us. After about 5 months, Ozidi invited Chioma out and proposed formally with a diamond ring. Chioma accepted. In another year, they got married. In a few years, they had 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. One day, many years after, they just came back from a vacation in the Caribbean, and Nneoma surfaced. She called Chioma on phone, and Chioma wisely asked for them to meet at a highbrow suya point. Over suya and drinks, Nneoma narrated how life had tossed her up and down. She said, Chioma, you are lucky. In fact, you and Ozidi are lucky. It's like his father hated me and didn't release money to Ozidi until I left. Chioma said, Nneoma, you are still dwelling in that your old pattern of thinking. His father hasn't given him a dime. Instead, Ozidi bought him a Mercedes G-Wagon for his birthday last year. Nneoma said, for what? The man that is so rich and stingy? Chioma said, Papa was training his son. He pulled greatness out of Ozidi. When a mama eagle wants her eaglets to fly, she pushes them off her into the air from a very tall height. They fly and flail. She keeps at it with them until they learn to fly on their own. That's what that great man has done for Ozidi, but you refuse to understand. Nneoma said, well, as for my stupid husband, he would make money and waste it. Now he's a very poor man. We have 2 children who were sent out of school the other day because we couldn't pay their school fees. He is just a lazy man. His father is generous and gave him so much, but he squandered all. Chioma said, yes, he squandered all with your help. Wow, wow, hard training. What do you really think about this story? Do you support Nneoma's attitude? What do you think of Mr. Odera's attitude to wealth and his son? What do you think about his pushing Ozidi out of his house barely a year after marriage? Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Also, please encourage us to roll out more African real life stories by giving this video a thumbs up, and also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. Yes, please remember to click the bell icon so you would be the first to know when we upload another very interesting story video. Please share our stories with your family and friends. Till our next video, remain amazing. Goodbye.